Our opening words come from Linda Hogan. Walking, I can almost hear the redwoods beating, and the oceans are above me here, rolling clouds, heavy and dark. It is winter, and there is smoke from the fires. It is a world of elemental attention, of all things working together, listening to what speaks in the blood. Whichever road I follow, I walk in the land of many gods, and they love and eat one another. Suddenly, all of my ancestors are behind me. Be still, they say. Watch and listen. You are the result of the love of thousands.
Morning has come, arise and greet the day. Dance with joy and sing a song of gladness. The light of hope here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. A new day dawns, once more the gift is given. Wonder fill this moment shared together. The light of peace here shines upon each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home. Open our eyes to see that life abounds. Open hearts to welcome it among us. The light of love here shines above each face. May it bring faith to guide our journey home.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Berkeley. My name is Deborah Schmidt, and along with Karen Elliott, I am one of the worship associates for today. This is a welcoming congregation, and we are always working on how to better welcome and care for one another. If this is your first time here, we are so glad that you are with us, and whoever you are, we welcome you in the fullness of who you are. Sadly, as many of you are already aware, this is Reverend Kat's last service with us, and she will be our worship leader for today. As we begin, we want to acknowledge that our church occupies land in Huichin, the unceded territory of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people. We understand that we continue to benefit from the seizure and occupation of this land. We acknowledge and embrace our responsibility to take restorative action. We affirm that this is deeply felt and commit our congregation to be in right relationship with Indigenous communities, aligning in solidarity, supporting Indigenous projects, and caring properly for the land. Please take a moment to prepare yourself and your space for our time together. You might bring a candle and a way to light it so that you can join in the chalice lighting from your home. Now, let us kindle our flames with the words of Summer Albayati, a chalice lighting for liminal times. In betwixt and in between, we move in the liminal spaces that show shades of what can become what can be. We light this chalice as a symbol of courage to move into that time of this and that, and not this and not that, with patience and faith and love and hope that this time will pass, like the sun that moves in between rising and setting, reminding us that beauty resounds in betwixt and in between. Now, please join us in singing our opening song, I've Got Peace Like a River. The words will be on your screen.
I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul.
Please join with me in saying our covenant. Love guides this church. The quest for truth and justice is its common purpose. To give thanks, listen deeply, speak with care, honor our differences, and seek and grant forgiveness. These things we covenant with one another.
are really something special, growing up with open minds.
Free to ask, not to answer questions, free to seek what we can find. Why do bad things strike nice people? What turns tadpoles into frogs? Why is Christmas in December? Why do parents say it's raining cats and dogs?
You kids are genuinely awesome, thriving on diversity.
Open to the wisdom of the cultures, building on theology. When friends ask what we believe in, we may seem a bit confused. That's because we're still deciding. We are growing our views.
Our story today is Millions of Cats by Wanda Gegg. Once upon a time, as fabulous stories are known to start, once upon a time, there was a very old man and a very old woman. They lived in a nice, clean house which had flowers all around it, except where the door was. There weren't any flowers there. They were happy, but they were also lonely. If only we had a cat, sighed the very old woman. A cat? Yes, a sweet little fluffy cat. I will get you a cat, my dear. And so the very old man set over the hills to go look for one. He climbed over sunny hills. He trudged through the cool valleys. He walked a long, long time. And at last he came to a hill which was quite covered with cats. Cats here, cats there. Cats and kittens were everywhere. Hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats. Oh, he cried, now I can choose the prettiest one and take it home with me. So he chose one. But just as he was about to leave, he saw another, and it seemed to be just as pretty as the first. So he took that one also. But then he saw a fuzzy kitten way over here, which was just as bit as pretty as the other ones too. And now one way down in a corner, which was too lovely to leave. So he took those too. And so it happened. Every time he looked up, he saw another cat, which was so pretty he couldn't bear to leave it. And before he knew it, he had chosen them all. And he went back over the sunny hills and down the cool valleys to show all of these pretty kittens to the very old woman. It was quite funny to see those hundreds and thousands and millions and billions and trillions of cats following him. And so it came that they came to a pond. Mew, we're thirsty, cried all the cats. Well, here's a great deal of water. Each cat took a sip and the pond was gone. Mew, we're hungry now, said the cats. There is much grass on the hills. So every cat ate one mouthful of grass, and not a blade was left. Pretty soon, the very old woman saw them coming. My dear, what are you doing? I asked for one little cat. And what do I see? Cats here, cats there, cats and kittens everywhere. Hundreds of cats, thousands of cats, millions and billions and trillions of cats. We can never feed them all. They'll eat us out of house and home. I never thought of that, he said. What shall we do? I know. We will let the cats decide which one we shall keep. Oh, yes, he said. And he called to the cats. Which of you is the prettiest? I am, said one cat. No, I am. No, I am, cried the hundreds and thousands and millions and billions and trillions of cats, for each one thought that it was the prettiest. And they began to quarrel. They made such a great noise that the man and the woman ran into their house. But after a while, the noise had stopped, and they peeped out the window and could not see a single cat. They looked high and low, but the cats were all gone. Wait, look, he said. pointing to a bunch of high grass. In the grass sat one little frightened kitten. They went out and picked her up. She was thin and scraggly. "Oh, I'm just a homely little cat," she said. "So when you asked who was the prettiest, I didn't say anything, so nobody bothered about me." Well, they took the kitten in the house, where the woman gave her a warm bath and brushed her until she was soft and shiny. Every day she got prettier and prettier. "She is the most beautiful cat in the whole wide world," said the very old man. "I ought to know, for I've seen hundreds of cats. I've seen thousands of cats. I've seen millions and billions and trillions of cats, and not one was as pretty as this one." Now, we here at UUCB have had our one fabulously special cat for the past couple of years. And we know that she's special. We may not have seen hundreds and thousands and millions and billions and trillions of cats, but I bet you can join me in knowing how super special our one cat is. And now we have to let her go. So, Reverend Cat, we are truly going to miss you. It has been a fantastic time that we have all spent together.
In the beginning was the cat, and the cat was without purr. The ether stirred, and there was milk, and the cat saw that it was good. It was good. Ya-da-da-dee-dum-da-dum, ya-dee-da-dum. A hand stretched forth across the milk and scratched behind the cat's ears, and it felt good. Da-da-da-dee-dum. Then the firmament shook, and there was produced a paper bag. Then the cat went forth into the bag and sing that it was good. She fell asleep,
We now enter the time in our service that we make for our hearts and our spirits, for our cares and our concerns for one another. We lift up and hold the joys and sorrows and cares and concerns and challenges that we may each be facing. During our time of silence, I invite you to share any joys or sorrows or significant milestones of yours in the comments. I invite all of us to hold these cares in compassionate embrace of this loving community. Our spoken meditation comes to us today from the Hindu saint, Tukaram. How could a lover fall? What could have caused your grip to weaken that allowed creation to be? How could a lover fall to his depths from the arms of infinite strength? How active you are in the mind, sustaining such a great wall that the sun can cast a frightening shadow that the world believes. No one has ever really known sadness. No real God would allow pain. How then can a heart feel it is broken and in need if we are held in the beloved arms of infinite compassion and strength? That mirror, you, God, stand before. We need to gaze into it also. The name you called beloved as I fell from your lips, I suffer because I did not quite hear it. So tell me again, dear one, so clear. I am you. Please join us now in singing Winds Be Still. The words will be on the screen.
Winds be still, storm clouds pass and silence come. Peace grace this time with harmony. Fly, bird of hope, and shine, light of love, and in calm let all find tranquility. Birds fly high, lift our gaze toward distant view, help us to sense life's mystery. Fly high and far, and lead us each to see how we move through the winds of eternity. Light shining, illuminate our inward view, help us to see with clarity. Shine bright and true, so we may join our songs in new songs that become full symphony.
This reading was selected by Reverend Cat. When I Am Among the Trees by Mary Oliver. When I am among the trees, especially the willows and the honey locust, equally the beech, the oaks, and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say that they save me, and daily. I am so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches, and they call again. "It's simple," they say. And you too have come into the world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light and to shine.
Oh no! Lonnie and Cordell just told me that Reverend Cat has to leave us and take care of others who need her. I'm so sad. I must get this message to her to tell her how happy I am that she created me and put me in one of her great stories. Oh wait, I must tell Dog. Reverend Cat created my foster mom, Dog, who loves me very much. We wouldn't have had this life without Reverend Cat. All the people at UUCB and all of the characters she created to help us understand love. We will all miss her and always remember the love she gave us.
Reverend Cat, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, a huge thank you for all you have done and meant to UUCB. How proud the board was to recommend to the congregation that UUCB be the church where you were ordained, and to witness and be a part of it. Even if it was remote in platform, it was not remote in our support and spirit of love. This past year, you have creatively kept alive the flame of hope and connection for families and beyond. Throughout your time, you have encouraged and inspired us to reach out to the children and teens in our community, and within to the child and teenager in all of us. We love you and wish you all the best. We will always think of you as part of the UUCB family.
Thank you, Reverend Cat.
Hey, Cat. We just wanted to say thank you for your time at UUCB.
Yeah. Thanks for doing all those D&D sessions, Cat. It was really fun.
Thanks for being our reverend.
Yeah, thanks for being our reverend in
Kat,
family
for
ministry.
all the work. Yeah.
We especially love the D&D. It was a great contribution. We hope that your next adventures in life are wonderful, and we wish you well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We wish you well.
Bye, Cat.
Bye.
Best wishes, Cat. Bye.
Reverend Catherine, thank you for helping us get through a global pandemic. I am so grateful for the creativity you brought to Times for All Ages and religious education, bringing your creativity to a whole new medium. And I'm sad for the many hours that we didn't get to spend with you in person. You will be missed and you are loved.
Goodbye, Reverend Cat. Thank you. We'll miss you.
Hi, Cat. I'm so sorry you're leaving, but I'm so glad I got to know you. You're full of a spirit that just radiates somehow joy. Joy is the thing I think of with you most often. And there's a sweetness and innocence, a playfulness, and it all just comes up to add into goodness. And that's a wonderful thing to share into the world. I wish you the very best on your blue boat home journeys.
We'll miss you, Reverend Cat, Paloma and Serene, and Bella.
Dear Cat, thank you so much for being there for me in my own backyard, giving me comfort recently at the death of my father. I'm sorry that you are heading off to deal with your own family health difficulties, but I wish you all the best. Thanks again for being there.
Bye, Reverend Cat. We'll miss you.
Bye, Reverend Cat.
Love you.
Reverend Cat, Cordell and I thank you for everything that you've given to this congregation. I've really come to appreciate the power of story from your ministry.
Reverend Cat, you know that our support and love go with you as you support and love others in these coming months. We love you.
We love you.
Bye, Reverend Catherine. I'll miss you. Bye. I love you, Reverend Catherine. Bye. I'll see you soon.
Hey, Reverend Cat. All the best in your next chapter. I'm gonna miss you. Take care.
Hi, Reverend Cat. We're going to miss you. Rachel V? We're going to miss you.
Dear Reverend Cat, we're so sorry that you have to leave us. Go with our love and care, and we hope we get to see you again.
Reverend Cat, we are so glad that you have given us your last 2 years. We've appreciated your humor, your creativity, and your caring. Our game nights and our holidays are bettered for your jokes and your fun treats. Your simple drawings and cutouts have given voice to the time for all ages when even connecting was hard. Through it all, you have given a space for a listening presence in hard times for all our UUCB family. And you've been not just a director of family ministry, but a minister to all our religious family. We're so proud to have ordained you. I hope you'll remember us as fondly as we will remember you. We wish you nothing but the best. And for those of you who have not yet done it, I hope that you will add your best wishes to the awesome box and the money pool that have been set up to be sent to Reverend Cat. Thank you.
Were you a child of the dirt? Now, please don't get mad and think I'm calling you Pigpen. What I want to know, what I'm asking is, what was your experience of Mother Earth when you were just sprouting up yourself? Looking back on your own life, when do you first remember being outside? When do you first remember the feeling of warm sun on your face, or the sensation of mud splashing up as you jump into a puddle, or leaves falling as you play with them? What is your first memory? Not of your parents, not of your home or of duck blankets or ABCs, But what is your very first memory of interacting with nature? Mine is this. Picture this. In a far off corner of my neighbor's backyard, I was there, sitting, playing in the mud. For my little legs were too short to keep up with my sister and her older friends in their epic imaginary journeys of play. I settled into the dirt and created my own imaginary world, making sticks and bits of leaves, a tiny community of tiny people, elves. And as I grew up, so did my stories of these little people, expanding with me as I grew. The elves were everywhere in my play. In stories where I mixed dirt and water and leaves to create witches' potions, they were there. They were also there when I laid on the ground, watching ants march back to their hills and compose stories in my head of how the elves and the ants live in harmony together, with the elves riding the ants like horses, but helping maintain and build ant society. Hey, weird adults have to come from somewhere, and I was a weird kid. My imagination held sagas of these tiny people, but as many do, as I began to play less and less and grow older and older, the elves faded from my mind. My old imaginary friends remain but a ghost of my youth, but their impact on my life, on my relationship with the earth and all of its species, it remains. They instilled in me a perchance to wonder, to be awestruck, to be curious, and filled with reverence. Oh, and boy, oh boy, was I awestruck when I first arrived here in California. Before you folks hired me, the farthest west I had ever traveled in this country was Texas. And when I made it the cross-country move here and drove through Lake Tahoe, I had to pull my car over just to take in the view and say, wow. I want to talk about one particular living thing I saw that day and is quintessential to California, the redwoods. Towering over us, these great giants are the largest living things in the world. And the Sierra redwoods are the fastest growing tree in the USA. Dang, they make the great oaks of my childhood in Louisiana look like slackers. Their size is not the only wonder of these titans. Their age is another. Some redwoods are over thousands of years old, silent witnesses to the human condition, to human progress and history. Just some of the things our great friends have witnessed us do include the earliest invention of the lunar calendar of 12 months, about some 2,650 years ago. They've witnessed the earliest recorded poetry from us, and that was a love poem written in Sumeria. They also witnessed the earliest record of contraception found in Egypt, and they even heard the very first composed song, the hurrying hymn to Nikil, which was written in cuneiform in Syria. The first song, the first time we heard the power of humans' feelings, not just through words, but through music. They also witnessed the drawing of the very first map in Greece about when they witnessed us build the earliest inpatient hospitals in Sri Lanka. They even witnessed us build the very first analog computer of the bronze, with bronze gears and mechanizing solar and lunar epicycles and eclipses and motions of the planets in the known cosmos. Going on and on, thousands of years, these colossal companions watched us discover zero, starting in the Maya classical period. They also witnessed us multiply and build first societies, little groups, villages, towns, cities, countries. They witnessed the rise of urbanization. Now, the very first megacity was in Tenochtitlan with over 100,000 people. Doesn't sound like a lot to us nowadays, but a long time ago, it is where it all began. Those are just to name a few events witnessed by these great trees. In 1592, these trees watched our population surpass well past 500 million. 429 years later, there is over 7 billion of us. Compare that to the 120,000 acres of redwoods that remain. But before we get caught up in the cycles of history, let's take a breath. Let's slow down. Let's observe the redwood. Let's listen and hear what lessons it can tell us. Lesson 1, nature is a teacher. This quote comes from Ellen A. Schwarzenher's A Natural History of California. Redwood bark is resistant to fire. The wood will burn, but it is impregnated with tannins that are toxic to termites and other wood-consuming organisms. The resistance to both fire and insects allow the trees to reach great age, many which surpass 2,000 years. As the fires currently rage in California, we hope and we pray for the safety and well-being of all those affected. We hope their animals, homes, properties are safe too. But as we look to nature, we know that sometimes fire can provide regeneration as the redwoods require. So ground fire does not burn through its spark. The rising heat of the fire opens up cones, some which remain on the redwoods way up in the canopy for decades. But then when gravity happens, the opening of the cone invites gravity to do the work, and the seeds fall to the forest floor. In nature, lightning starts fires. The indigenous people knew the vital function of these fires to the trees and through the whole forest ecosystem. They would light fire to burn debris and rough and open the canopy for these seeds to grow. The fire would release nutrients from the soil to help these seeds develop. In the case of redwoods, fire is life. When we non-Indigenous people came into the area, our hubris nearly killed these giants. Wanting to protect these beautiful creatures, we stopped these fire practices and we forgot these fire cultures as Yosemite and Sequoia were established as the second and third national parks in this country. We sought and stopped fire to shield these creatures from it. And as the 1900s rolled on into the 1950s and 60s, there was an unfortunate case of a woman who was killed at a park by a falling redwood. The Park Service investigated and found that the burning fire on the redwood, as Roberta said, killed the pest and also this fungus inside of it. Now these trees were riddled with these pests and these fungus, and they were being eaten from the inside out. If we hadn't had people who remembered the history and knew the ways and knowledge of the indigenous people, I may not be delivering this sermon topic today. We must continue our relationship with Indigenous folks because we need them to survive. Humanity needs all the knowledge we have to survive, especially in the face of climate change. That is why it is so crucial and critical to get this information, this understanding, and have connections and relationships with people who know the land, know nature, and know how to mitigate and survive. Number 2, long time. Quoting once more from A Natural History of California, the giant Sierra redwoods are the most moisture demanding of all the species. So these great trees tend to live in basins filled with the runoff water from the mountain, and they suck up all that moisture to reach up and touch the sky. And as they grow and grow, time passes. Empires rise and empires fall, but these redwoods are ever growing, ever reaching up towards the heaven, as serene, as solid as a granite statue of Buddha. And they know what Buddha knew, that these human issues and concerns are impermanent, in flux, in motion, emerging and dissipating, always changing, as our thoughts and our monkey minds often do. Perhaps their age gives them a sense of eternity and the knowledge that things always change, and accepting that and seeing things from the long, long, long point of view bestows serenity. The third lesson our redwoods teach us is biodiversity is our diversity. If you gather a gaggle of UUs and ask them what your favorite principle is, you're going to get many, many beautiful answers, from justice making to combating racism to democracy protecting. You'll hear reasons why each principle is so crucial and so meaningful to the heart of our faithful. If I had to pick my favorite, though, and perhaps this is no surprise to anyone, it would be the 7th, respect for the interdependent web of life. For I'm not just a child of the dirt, I am a child of the earth. Redwoods are just one species out of billions that make life here on our planet so precious. You don't have to be as big as the redwoods to make an impact. You know, tardigrades, those tiny little water barrels, is another example. Or algae, or snakes, spiders, bunnies, creepy or crawly, slimy or slippery, fluffy or ferocious. Our planet is a smorgasbord of species, each with an important role in their local ecosystem and therefore in our global system. We are all connected in the interdependent web of life. One action affects another. The butterfly effect affects us all. In this wild and rapidly changing and ever difficult world that we live in right now, it isn't just the Indigenous people that we must have relationships with, that we must have connections to survive these next years, but with creation itself. All divine sentient beings, from the teeny tiniest to the biggest redwoods, they all have knowledge and lessons to teach us. I saw a special tree that was not a redwood. It was a simple walnut tree. It was on a shopping street in Walnut Creek. But what made it special were the strings and cards that were wrapped around it hundreds of times. And each string wrapped around this tree had a small, colorful card attached. And on those cards were written wishes. Wishes. Wishes mostly for other humans, about other humans. Wishes for love, wishes for healing, for understanding, wishes for wisdom and clarity, wishes for more time with each other, wishes for hope. All of these wishes I read on the tree, though not exactly word for word. I have also heard in conversations with all of you and with other Unitarian Universalists from all over, and with humans who are not Unitarian Universalists. For this tree, it's a beautiful symbol of not only our interconnection with nature, but also with each other. We truly need each other to survive. And caring for these connections with each other is a divine trait, along with curiosity and compassionate listening and learning, even more so. So I ask you, the next time you find yourself under the great branches of those giant, beautiful trees, look up, listen, and perhaps you will learn. So mote it be.
As we commit together to making this a loving community, we take time to remember that UUCB needs our gifts and support. We invite you now to make an offering. Each week, half our offerings are shared with a good neighbor organization who needs our financial support. And we hope you will continue to practice generosity with them during these difficult times. This month, our good neighbor is DIR, Developing Indigenous Resources, founded in 2004 by UUCB members Frederick and Roberta Shaw. Frederick Shaw, a doctor of public health, founded this health project in a large slum in India. DIR has made enormous progress in reducing deaths from preventable diseases, infant mortality, childhood malnutrition, etc., by training local staff to teach other residents, especially mothers, how to prevent and treat various common health problems. During the pandemic, DIR is providing nourishing food to the most destitute families. When COVID-19 ends, a similar project will be activated in another nearby slum. Here is a short video of Frederick and Roberta describing the work of DIR.
Hello, I'm Roberta Shaw, and I'm sitting here with my husband, Frederick Shaw, doctor of public health. Frederick started this project, Developing Indigenous Resources, also known as DIR, in a slum outside of Chandigarh in northwest India in 2004. And he's been the CEO up until just a couple of years ago when he retired at age 88. We have a wonderful staff. He's been replaced now by an Indian woman doctor. He was the only foreigner, but the whole staff has always been Indian. And then we have these wonderful young people from the slum called health promoters, and they have been very well trained in preventive medicine and nutrition. In the afternoons after their classes, they go out to the homes in the slum, and particularly they counsel the mothers to help the mothers know how to keep their babies alive and to keep their children healthy and well-nourished, and so forth. So we have made tremendous strides over these many years in reducing the malnutrition, reducing the infant mortality, and so forth. We have all the statistics, but I won't go into all of those now. We've also kept mothers from dying in childbirth and so forth. So there's been great strides in terms of health. And this has been done by the people learning to change their behavior. So we're continuing with this good work, and even during the pandemic, we've been working, DIR staff has been working hard and keeping the little school going. There has been a preschool school for young children, and also giving classes for women of the slum so that they can learn to make to stitch and sew and make some money on their own. So during the pandemic, as I say, all of this has been continuing as much as possible with the masks and the social distancing. When the pandemic ends, which we hope will be soon, DIR will continue their project that they had just started in a slum inside the city of Chandigarh, and the project will be the same as this, with local people being hired and trained to teach and help and counsel their own neighbors in the slum. So thank you very much.
Offerings of any value are received with gratitude. Details on how to give electronically will appear on your screen as our offertory begins. Thank you.
May we have safe passage, oh, safe passage. May we have safe passage, oh, safe passage on our way. Safe passage on your way, brother. Safe passage on your way, sister. Safe passage on your way, sweet children. Safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage. Oh, safe passage. May we have safe passage. Oh, safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage, oh, safe passage. May we have safe passage, oh, safe passage on our way. Safe passage on our way, brother. Safe passage on your way, sister. Safe passage on your way, sweet children. Safe passage on our way. May we have safe passage, oh, safe passage. May we have safe passage, oh, safe passage on our way.
Please join me in dedicating our offering. We dedicate our offering and ourselves to the mission of this congregation, to create loving community, inspire spiritual growth, and encourage lives of integrity, joy, and service.
It's been good to be together today, even if virtually, for our dear Reverend Kat's final Sunday preaching at UUCB. Let's follow it up with a goodbye caravan. We're inviting you to say goodbye to Reverend Kat caravan style. Today, from 12:30 to 2 p.m., by driving through the church parking lot. We won't let COVID get us down. Decorate your car, honk in tribute, make noise and do a silly dance to bid her farewell. A couple of other important things. First, we're sorry to have to say that despite our hopes, next Sunday's service will not be outdoors. Given our county's COVID transmission data, the latest UUA guidance, and the results of our flash poll, we will be remaining in virtual worship for the time being. For more information, please see Reverend Michelle's column in the September issue of The Beacon on the Hill, which is on our website, uucb.org, under the News tab. And second, I want to announce that the final report from the Widening the Circle of Concern Task Force is now available on our website, uucb.org, with a link on the home page for everyone in the congregation to read. Please take a first look. The report is the task force's recommendations for how UUCB can further its growth and its commitment to being an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, equitable, and inclusive congregation. We encourage everyone in the congregation to read it and look for ways to get involved. And now, please join in singing our closing song for today, Blue Boat Home. The words will be on the screen. Thank you.
Mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still I cry and heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun my sail and moon my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor's song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
Our closing words come today from Amy Stewart. People here had redwood trees in their backyard. You were never far from the infinite. Thank you, UUCB, for bringing me a little bit closer to the infinite. Go in peace.
Action. Cut.